Hello and welcome to City Edition, the City of Bend's video news magazine. I'm Ann Orange. Before the city's urban growth boundary plan was accepted by the state, city staff worked with 54 individual residents on technical advisory committees called TACs. These TACs help the city make critical decisions about how and where the city would grow. Here's some reflections from those participants that illustrate how our community will be growing together in the future.
The reason I wanted to serve on the UGB Technical Advisory Committee is I have a great interest in seeing the growth of our community done in a smart and responsible way.
So I wanted to make sure that many people with a pro-environment perspective, which I think represents the values broadly of Bend, were included early in the process and helped shape the process, the questions that were being asked, and the answers that we produced.
One, of course, we're real estate developers, so we have an interest and an expertise in land development, and so that's certainly one aspect of it. But number two, and probably more importantly, we have a vested interest in seeing our town grow in a positive way, because that's what creates a valuable community in the long run for everybody.
Landwatch's vision for the city of Bend basically is for it to grow up as a city and stop sprawling out over the Central Oregon landscape. We wanted to become part of the process for deciding how the city would grow for the next 20 years. That sets the foundation for the next 50 years.
We can't choose to not grow or to grow. What we have to do is respond to the growth that we face. And the way we do that is we listen to the community. We try and understand the goals and the concerns of all of our community, east side, west side, development, no growth interests, environmental interests, and try and balance all of those interests in a way that makes the community a better place and develops in the way that the community wants.
You know, I believe the purpose of the UGB, at least how I take it, is to create complete communities and not allow it to just be sprawling development.
I must admit that when Landwatch came into this, our perspective was a bit confrontational. There had been a sharp disagreement in the past over where we would grow, how we would grow. And I would say for the first 6 to 9 months, it was a fairly adversarial process. Very polite and friendly, but rather adversarial.
I do think that the approved UGB expansion does include some compromise from the members of the TAC. And that compromise was a little bit on each side, I think. I think those who would rather see a large UGB recognize the value of getting something done.
We came to an agreement on where a boundary would be on the northwest part of Bend, and then we looked, well, how about looking at the central area of Bend? How should that grow? And we started meeting regularly.
The people or groups that would suggest to be more dense and not expand the UGB, again, saw value in something getting done, but I think both parties then saw some of the value of what the proposals brought.
And I think the product that we have at the end allows more growth than I expected we would or wanted to see there, but it's because I learned so much about the needs of our community.
And we made the proposal to the Technical Advisory Committee, and unanimous. We went to the City Council, unanimous. We went to the County Commissioners, unanimous.
Well, I think as we went through the process, we obtained a lot of information about the impacts of the various areas in which to grow. We wrestled a lot with how do we address wildfire concerns and livability concerns and environmental concerns, as well as affordability concerns.
This process wouldn't have worked without a very active community. And to the city's credit, they involved, they sought comment. They were flexible. They had ideas, their engineers had ideas for what they wanted to do, but when the community said, well, actually, could you do it this way or that way, the city was flexible. It doesn't do any good to have public involvement if the city isn't listening. And here the city listened. That's why it worked.